Hey, hey, worked that time. Okay, not the best intro for us, Hunter, but we are officially live now. So, everybody who is watching this, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode, congregation, meeting, joining together of the minds for the Cardboard Consortium. My name is Rick with Let's Level Up, and my partner, the illustrious, the magnificent Hunter
Magnetic.
Shelburne,
Yeah.
magnetic even. Ooh, I like that. Of Weapons Great Tabletop. Say hello to everybody, Hunter.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the episode 1.0, 0.5, whatever we're on now.
um, so we actually had another episode of the Cardboard Consortium before this one. I may have made a mistake. Okay, let's be honest. Hunter made the mistake, and he blamed it on me.
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
this is officially our first episode ever, and we are right on the precipice of Halloween, one of my favorite holidays in the year. It's a day that we can kind of shed our skins and be whatever we want to be. And Hunter and I wanted to get together and talk about games that really lend itself to the holiday and great Halloween themed games. Um, Hunter, what's the best Halloween costume you've ever had?
Oh, damn. I think this year's is pretty solid. I'm actually going as a Pokemon trainer, hiker Pokemon trainer from the game. So that's going to be pretty fun. I've got like little squish ball Pokeballs and stuff like that out in the car right now, waiting to go. That's probably the most elaborate one I've done. Honestly, I haven't dressed up a lot most recent years. I'm really dressing up because of work, and I really wanted to get into the spirit a little bit more. I usually hang out at home and play a lot of games.
Oh, that's great. I did that a lot in my early 20s, and then once I had kids, I kind of found the holiday again, which is, when you're a teen, it's not nearly as important. And then when you get to start to drinking, and you hit 21, you start going out, and you see all the ladies and all that stuff. It's a big holiday again, at least for me. And then it kind of waned off after I found my wife, and then once we had kids, it became a really important day of the year again because my son absolutely loves Halloween. My daughter does as well. In fact, her first words were "trick or treat," which is kind of neat. Um,
Smart kid.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
she
your
knew.
first words being "Give me candy."
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So she's very good at that, getting what she wants thing. Um, but we were talking a bit about before is what Halloween means. It's a day where there's a lot of different themes at play, and there's a lot of games that lend itself well to the theme. And the first one I wanted to talk about, if we just kind of follow the format we did the last show, is Call of Cthulhu.
Oh,
This this is one of my absolute favorite games that's ever been printed. This is the sixth edition from Chaosium. This is a D100 base system, and this is a role playing game. And what Call of Cthulhu is essentially is a Lovecraftian horror story, played a lot like Dungeons and Dragons or any other type of role playing game, where the players are actually investigators in the game, and they are trying to solve some sort of crazy mythos like story. And oftentimes it involves in a lot of death, despair, debauchery. What's great about this is it can go through a lot of different types of settings. A lot of people play it in the 20s, but there's an 80s setting, there's a modern setting, there's a 40s setting, and there's even an ancient time setting as well, which is a lot of fun. But this game lends itself well to, I think, the Halloween spirit, right? Because
yeah.
Lovecraft himself is a great horror writer, and one of the things that's great about Halloween is the essence of horror, at least for me, and seeing the things that go bump in the night, and wanting to know just a little bit more about that universe. And Call of Cthulhu is a great game. Have you ever played Hunter?
I haven't played the RPG. I've actually played Call of Cthulhu for the Xbox, the original Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting game. I like that one, and I like the Arkham Mythos. And actually, oddly enough, that's was one of my first choices here was Arkham Horror for kind of the same reasons. A very very similar thematic elements to it. It can take a lot of players, which is like as an RPG, you can pretty much take as many as you want. Arkham has a limit, but Elder Sign could also fit into that same role to me. Maybe not as depth wise, but depending on the type of group you have, if you want someone that wants something a little lighter, Elder Sign might be the one to go for. Arkham Horror is one if you want to like take that whole Halloween evening and just say I'm gonna spend my time playing a game. Eldritch Horror, I haven't played it. The only reason I don't mention it is because I just haven't played it. But I hear Eldritch Horror is just a more streamlined version, probably a better version. But same deal. Call of Cthulhu games in general, they're really good thematically for the day, the night, and they have that Halloween spirit to them. Like I said, they're very. I mean, it's more of a horror theme, but I like it a lot. I'm a big fan of those games. I haven't played the D1. I didn't know it was D100 based. That's interesting.
Yeah, they have a D20 based system now, but the 6th edition is a percentile system. So whenever you're making a check, you essentially roll against whatever your value is, and if you get lower than your value, you pass your check. So if you're gathering intelligence at a library, you'll do a gather knowledge or whatever the check is, and let's say I have 30%, that means I have a 30% chance to be successful at that check. And if I can successfully pass the check, the GM could assign me, I forget what the role is called now, but essentially you put a check mark next to your skill that you successfully passed, and at the end of the game you can level that skill up to 5% at the end of the session, which is really cool. So it's a way to it's a really interesting way to build on the skills that you're using during the game. And what's really great about the entire Lovecraftian mythos is that everything is so much better than you. And I really like putting myself in the shoes of just a normal guy. And D&D is great, and there's even some great horror-themed modules that you can run in Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, we just got a question pop up and said the D100 system is a lot more interesting. I agree. I'm a little burnt out on the D20 system after 20-plus years of playing, but the D100 percentile system is really nice. So, but again, what's nice about Call of Cthulhu is that it makes you just a normal person, and you're thrown into a world that is completely alien to you, and you either go crazy, you find a way to survive, or you just outright die in the most just insane ways possible. And it's just a really, really fun time. If you have a GM that's good enough to give you guys a session, I think anybody can play the system. And if you're a fan of horror movies or the horror genre, check out the 6th edition of Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu. I love this book. This is a great book. It's like $40, probably $30 maybe if you can find it online somewhere. I'm sure they're cheaper PDFs out there as well, but really, really good book for the role players out there.
Well, sold me. I'm gonna look for it now. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's so good.
Cool. And that Kyle in the chat actually reminded me. I'll bring up your game later. Not the game you designed, but one of his favorite games is going to come up later. So hang in there, Kyle.
So you have 100 you want to talk about?
Sure. I guess I can bring it up now. So Flying Frog Productions has put together quite a few pretty fun horror games in there in general. They've got the Last on Earth series. They've got the Touch of Evil series, and Touch of Evil is the one I wanted to actually mention. Touch of Evil is a bit different to me than Last on Earth, quite a bit different. I like Last on Earth. I actually own Last on Earth, but I recently got to play Touch of Evil with Kyle, and I really liked it quite a bit. I was a huge fan of it, and that game is like horror central. I love the classic monsters and stuff like that. It's just a ton of fun. I like it. It's kind of a storytelling game to a degree, but it really works. At least for me. Like when I play that, we were playing that game, we played against the Headless Horseman, and we really felt like, or to me, it really felt like we were following the story of like the Headless Horseman in that, and it was running around terrorizing like that pastiche of maybe Sleepy Hollow, but it's more of a generic fantasy town. But it's got that classic American literature horror feel, like you'd see in Sleepy Hollow, but it's a little more generic, so it can fit a lot of different like Nosferatu type of stuff or any kind of really cool classic stories. And I really like classic horror. That's like where you kind of like the Cthulhu type stuff,
The gothic horror.
yeah, the gothic horror stuff. And that's funny because the deck building game for Touch of Evil is called Dark Gothic, but this is I like the horror that I like is kind of not that I don't like the gothic horror, but I really like the stuff like Sleepy Hollow, like those kind of stories, those classic stories. I like old silent era films that are about like Haxan is a silent era film that's about like the history of witches and stuff like that, like the whole witches and the devil kind of stuff. It's really kind of hokey almost, but I really like it a lot. And that game really. It doesn't blow you away with its mechanics, but it's one of those games like I could break out on Halloween and it'll be a little bit longer, but anyone can play it. It's literally just rolling dice and choosing where to go.
Awesome, and it's called Touch of Evil, you said?
Touch of Evil, that's right.
That sounds awesome, man.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that one.
I wanted to mention one other role-playing game while I brought it up. It's called Rapture. And I've done a review for it on Let's Level Up on our YouTube channel. But Rapture is a horror-themed, sci-fi horror-themed game from Story Reaver Games, and it's written by a guy named Joe Sweeney, who is just a brilliant game designer, specifically with role-playing games. And the thing that makes Rapture unique is that as a GM, you can set up a session in 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It can be rolled off of tables, and it's really easy to put together something. Essentially, the theme of the game is that at a certain point, the rapture, the biblical rapture, happens, and God takes all of the righteous and the believers and takes them with him. So all these beams of light come, and they bring up all the good people, and all the non-believers and all the sinners or whatever are left out. And it's set far in the future, so we've actually started colonizing space. So once God leaves Earth, the devil basically comes up and wipes out all the planet. And we actually are finding out what's happening now as far as the game lore goes. But what makes Rapture really unique is that you play it out in scenes, and everybody plays kind of like an Event Horizon-esque tale of sci-fi horror. So everybody has a character, and we play out these different scenes, and we try to make basically the best horror movie that we can set in space. Whether we're mining on an asteroid or on a moon or on a planet, it's not Earth that we're on generally, and everybody is doing their best to die the best way, because that's actually how you level up in the game as well, which is completely crazy. So if you die memorably, if it's horrific, if it's funny, if there's a way that you can tell the story of your death that makes an impact on the rest of the group, you should come in as one of the other characters in the game, one of the NPCs, and have extra ability points, which is really, really cool. When we played, we had so much fun just finding ways to narrate our deaths. And Rapture is one of those games that it has a bit of a religious theme to it, but at the end of the day, your character can be whatever you want it to be. In fact, having religious characters at the point of the rapture are very, very rare. Else, they would be in heaven, right? So oftentimes you're playing some sort of non-believer, maybe a Satanist, maybe a different type of believer, and it's just a really, really cool way to tell a story, which is what I look for in role-playing games. So it's very dice-like. You can set it up really quickly, and you can get it for like $8 on, I believe, RPGnow.com. But if you go to Story Weaver Games, you can check it out there as well. And it's one that I think if you haven't played it, it definitely deserves at least one session with your group, if you're a fan of role-playing games rather, because it's really, really cool.
That does sound pretty cool. I like dice-like games like that are more about the actual storytelling and story than they are about the chunky dice, pretty much. That's pretty cool. And I'm light on RPGs. I haven't had a lot of time to do RPGs lately, so unfortunately, mainly board games from this side. But my next one's actually right behind you there, over your right shoulder, and you might be mentioning this one as well. But that is Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah.
I got mine over here. Got the old red box. but the contents are all exactly the same as the red and green boxes. They didn't change any of the contents, unfortunately. But that game,
Excellent game.
it's a fun game. It's a game that shows it's like it's weird. It's kind of like a Frankenstein of a game. It's showing like a bone here or a bolt there, and it's just got some janky parts to it, and it's been constructed from just all sorts of crap from a graveyard, but it just works. And some people hate it. I've talked to people that really dislike that game, but I love it. And it's just a good storytelling game because it's like every experience is good. I mean, I've had that game since it came out, and I've maybe replayed one scenario in that entire game. I haven't played through every scenario in the game yet, and it's just extremely fun. It's dice chucky and it's goofy. It's if you get too attached to your character, don't do that. You're just gonna get trapped under plaster. I literally spent one game where I spent an entire time because plaster fell from a ceiling and trapped me for the entire game. The entire game, and that was it. But it was fun because it was still made. I remember that now, and that's the kind of game experience it creates. It's just a really fun game. I can't recommend it enough. It's really good.
I love it. That's actually my favorite. One of my favorite horror-themed board games to play. Betrayal at House on the Hill is absolutely fabulous, and it's one of those games that's easy enough that you can get a large variety of people to play, which to me is huge. If I can branch out and get non-gamers to enjoy a game for its theme, it's really good. And like Hunter was saying, there are 50 scenarios thrown into this game. So I've played it maybe 18 times, a dozen and a half times, and I have yet to repeat a scenario. So I've gotten some that are really silly, I've gotten some that are way more serious, and I've gotten some that are just kind of middle-of-the-road horror, but it always, for me, has provided a different experience, and it's really, really fun in that aspect of things. Everything's so random, which I can see why some people may not like the randomness to it, at least for the first act of exploring the mansion. But once that second act hits and you find out who your betrayer is, that game really comes alive. And for me, it's one that's just perfect.
Yep, really good one.
I wanted to talk about a game we actually just recently reviewed. It's from Nazca Games, which if you guys have heard me on Twitter or seen any of my reviews lately, you know I've got just such a developer crush on Emerson at Nazca Games. He's created a game called Tricks and Treats, and it is a very light themed, cool deduction game that is a Halloween-themed game, and it's straight up what we're doing is after Halloween trying to get our candy in our basket without people know that we're stacking candy in our basket. Really, really light game, really cheap game, but one of those games that's excellent to play over your lunch break if you're trying to find games for that. It's a great filler game, and it's one of those games that can play quick enough that you can get multiple sessions in. So if you're a fan of deduction games, I highly recommend Tricks and Treats from Nazca Games. This game is so much fun, and you can play it with your whole family. Just really, really good.
In that same vein, a really quick one for me, Fifth Street Games came out with Ghosts Love Candy. That's a really fun, light card game as well. It's a little bit different than, it doesn't have the same theme, but it has, like, ghosts are trying to possess kids to do their trick-or-treating for them because ghosts love candy. And you have to pretty much get candy from kids without making them sick. Because if you make them sick, they're going to give you negative points. And all the kids have different costumes, and each of the costumes gives them different powers. It's kind of like that game Costume Quest on Xbox and like PS3 and stuff like that, where each of the costumes has a special power associated with it, and kind of that's how the card game goes. Like the Grim Reaper can make kids next to him sick and stuff like that. So it's a pretty fun light card game, really filler level stuff, but something you could play at a party or like at lunch break or something like that, like you said.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And what's that called? Ghost Love Candy?
Ghost Love Candy, and it's Fifth Street Games.
Sweet. I'm a big fan. How do you feel about the zombies, Hunter?
I think zombies have burned out for me a bit, but one game in particular has gotten me back on board with zombies a bit. Dead of Winter for sure has been like the big one, but yeah, Last Night on Earth is like my big zombie game for the most part.
Last Night on Earth is a perfect zombie game. Last Night on Earth is one of those, again, that it's got a little bit of everything that makes it really unique, right? So it's got a co-op element because you're playing with a partner, and you guys are playing a different team. And it's one of those games that, with the different scenarios you play, it can always bring something different to the table whenever you're experiencing it, which to me is a pretty big thing, right? If I'm going to spend 50 or 60 bucks on a game at a game shop, I want to make sure I'm going to be able to get a lot of different experiences and have a really rewarding experience each time I play it. And you can play Last Night on Earth pretty competitively. You can play it lightly, and it's just one of those games that kind of caters itself to the audience that's playing it that I really enjoy. But Last Night on Earth is actually a really good one for me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think there's a lot of zombie games that are good, and I don't give them a fair shake because they're zombie games. It is unfortunate. I just don't need that many zombie games. So games like Mall of Horror, which I hear is amazing, I just haven't had a chance to play because I don't have room for that game in my collection. Yeah. But not Last Night on Earth, Dead of Winter kind of was the one that got me into, because it was like, I didn't want a zombie game, but then I was like, okay, this seems to be more of a human game, and it really is. It's more of a survivor game. It definitely has more of a Walking Dead vibe than it does like a pulp horror vibe, and that's something that's really popular now. I think that's what's made it so easy for me to find people to play this, and that's really important as well, because sometimes it's hard to set up a zombie game if people just aren't fans. I mean, we know people on Twitter that hate zombies, like they are actually scared of zombies. It's that's actually out there, but could probably play Dead of Winter.
Who's scared of zombies?
I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to embarrass them, because they're awesome and they help support us during Extra Life. But there is someone on my Twitter who's legitimately afraid of zombies.
Well, whoever that is, just know that it's fiction.
Yeah. But I can't. I am afraid of dumb things. So, and I'm not saying being afraid of zombies is dumb. You know who you are. I'm just saying. I'm not going to call you on it. I'm just saying. I think they'd be able to play Dead of Winter, whereas they might not play Last Night on Earth, because Dead of Winter is like there are zombies, but you're not really getting attacked by zombies constantly. It's more like you're having to fight the scenario, and whatever the scenario is, you're having to like put fuel in your put food in the colony. You have to like do that, and Sarah is stupidly good at being a betrayer. She's won as the betrayer twice in that game now, and that's really hard to do. And the last 2 times we played, she's done it. She won during Extra Life live on camera. It was insane.
Let's take a break for a second for talking about Halloween things. Tell us a bit about your Extra Life experience, man. I followed a little bit of what you guys were doing online while you guys were playing. I caught a bit of the live stream. I forget what game you were playing when I was watching. I didn't have a lot of time to watch this weekend, but man, did you do the whole 24 hours?
Oh yeah. We ended up with 3 people lasting the full 24. Sarah fell asleep right before the end, but we had my friend Geraldo and Joe both made it the full 24 hours. And yeah, we played a crap ton of games. We played a lot of like big number games, because we actually had quite a few people there most of the day. We had like we had 11 people total show up throughout the day. We had usually 7 or 8 people most of the day, so played a lot of One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which was another one for tonight's thing. One Night Ultimate Werewolf is an amazingly easy, simple, fast party game, perfect for a Halloween party. It's so much fun. We also played UgTech. UgTech is a game where you take an inflatable caveman club, and one person is the caveman, and the other people are the architects, and he has to tell them how to build a little block structure out of like kids' building blocks, pretty much. But he can't use words. He has to use words that are like caveman words, like kuno chuck and stuff like that. And we had one guy that was an amazing caveman. Like, he looks like a caveman. Joe, you're out there if you're hearing this. Joe is an amazing caveman, and he was just beating you on the head. And then like we played that game twice, and during the second game, we're like sitting there trying to give commands, beating people on the heads with inflatable mouths, and the pizza delivery person came up and was just like, "Who's signing for this pizza?" And we're just like, "Oh God, Chuck, look, no!" Like just doing goofy crap over there, beating each other with mouths. It was hilarious. Played a lot of fun stuff. Played a lot of played some Machi Koro. We got Dead of Winter in, which was awesome. Towards the end, yeah, we made the full 24 hours. Raised $730 something, I think. So it's not bad, not bad at all.
Yeah, that's excellent, dude. Congratulations on that. And Extra Life is an excellent a way to raise money for children's charities. So if you're a gamer and you didn't participate this year, consider about doing it next year because it's one of those things that can really make a difference. And thanks to guys like Hunter, they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into doing these streams and giveaways and stuff like that. So kudos.
Yeah, and thank you guys for watching too, because that really gets us through those kind of things. Just even if you're not there the whole time, if you just drop a comment or something, it really helps. And plus, I mean, you guys are the ones donating to this stuff. And actually, Extra Life is taking donations. It looks like through the end of the year now. They finally officially announced that. So if you are interested in donating, those links are still open. I might link it somewhere in this, like in the comment or something like that, once this video's live and posted. But yeah, it was a great event, great event, and definitely do it. This is our second year doing it. Hugely fun experience. 24 hours, something always goes wrong, and it's hilarious because like this year, halfway through the AC went out, and it was just like ball sweat the rest of the night, and we were still having a lot of fun.
Oh man, the smell. I feel bad for Sarah. That's got to be a bad day.
It was rough. It was rough. I would have fallen asleep too just to get away from it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. All right, so the other game I wanted to talk about is this right here. And if you've played Descent, or if you've played other dungeon crawling board games, you've probably played something that is akin to Mansions of Madness. But in the same line of Betrayal at House on the Horror, Mansions of Madness provides another way to experience that gothic horror storyline, right? So just like Descent, one player is going to be an overlord or a mastermind, and their job is going to be acting like a light GM or a light dungeon master, and they're going to be following the instructions laid out within the campaign, and everything is randomized, right? So if I open up a room, or if my investigator goes into a room, I may summon a cultist or a monster, or there may be a trap or some sort of crazy ritual going on in there. So again, it provides a lot of different experiences, and I think the recurring theme between the games that I really like in the horror genre are ones that can provide unique experiences, right? If something can surprise me, I'm gonna love it. If something can surprise and scare me at the same time, I'm hooked. So that's what I look for in the movies or the books that I read involving the horror genre. It's something that's going to be able to provide me a unique experience, something I haven't already done. And I've watched a lot of horror movies in my day, and Mansions of Madness is one of those that just kind of fits right in. It's from Fantasy Flight Games. It's one of their bigger box games, and it's just a lot to it. I think it's in its second printing right now. Just the same way that Descent is, if I'm not mistaken.
I've always been curious about that one. It's one I haven't played personally. I'd heard some mixed stuff, but I didn't really know what it was like, honestly. But if it's like Descent and things like that, I think I'd really like that.
It's almost exactly like Descent. I think almost to a fault. It's essentially Descent in a gothic horror printing rather than a truly unique experience. And I may get some flack from that from the hardcore Mansions of Madness fans, but come on, guys. We all know if you've played both the games, they're basically the same thing with a different theme. But that being said, they are both very good games.
I mean, I can't say anything. I'm about to buy Imperial Assault, which is essentially Descent in Star Wars, so I'm not going to be a paragon of justice with this game, so I'll probably try out Mansions of Madness too.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
There's another good one behind you, actually. What did you just organize your shelves to make like horror games show up? Because we got Dead Panic right there. I think that's a good beginner's like intro to co-op games to a degree. It's like a step up from Castle Panic, but it's still not super difficult. Like if you think someone's maybe not ready for Last Night on Earth or something like that. Maybe it's a little too long for the night or something along those lines. If you want to play something a little shorter, Dead Panic is a pretty solid one, I think.
Yeah, I like Dead Panic a lot. And in fact, I like a lot of the games that Fireside Games makes. Justin and Anne Marie DeWitt are excellent designers, both in their own right. And Anne Marie's designed Munchkin Panic, which is behind me somewhere, which is the Munchkin themed Castle Panic. Of course, Justin has designed Dead Panic and Castle Panic, Bloodsuckers, and
Bears.
Actually, Anne Marie did Bears.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, they're a partnership, right? They're married, so they kind of share all the everything, I think. And they're just really really good people, and I can't say enough great things about Fireside Games. They're amazing, and the games they produce, I love the components on them. I love the theme in them, and they generally have really really solid mechanics. So if you haven't played Dead Panic and you're looking for a really cool zombie themed co-op game, Dead Panic is a great one to have.
Totally agreed.
So, Hunter, I'm curious. Have you? What's the most terrified or scared that you've ever been? And I'm not talking about crap. Someone almost ran me off the road. I'm talking about like, have you had any horrific experiences in your life?
Oh man, I'm easily frightened. I am not. I know I give off the impression that I'm the toughest man that ever lived. I'm essentially the mountain man of gaming, but I I'm not like I'm like not a horror movie guy. Uh, so like really cheesy jump scares get me constantly. If your movie has jump scares, I hate you. First off, you're cheap. That's not fair. It's not fair. It's really not fair. I don't want to see like it looks in the mirror and there's a thing there or something. That freaks me out constantly. I can't. And Sarah loves horror movies, so I'm always having to like watch one or two of them every now and then, and I'm always getting caught off guard by that stuff. I'll say the scare. This is gonna. Oh my god, I shouldn't even mention this. But the worst. I was like probably 13, 14, something like that. I was in that range, like early teens. We went to Disney World, and no, I wasn't scared by Mickey Mouse or something like that. That's not that bad. But we went to this show called The Alien Encounter or something like that. And it's a show where it's like a big tube in the center, and there's an alien in it, and they set it up like, oh, you're seeing an alien and all stuff, and you know it's going to be escaping, but you know, it breaks out, and then it starts blowing like wind and stuff on the backs of your legs and crap like that, like the lights go out, and then somebody's like getting pulled away, and I was flipping my shit. I was losing it. I was like, man, Disney's gonna kill me. This is where I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die at Disney World, the happiest place on earth.
Yeah,
So,
not for you.
yeah, man, that's embarrassing, but that was true. The funny thing is, I went back a few years later in high school, and I did that same thing just to see it. It was so lame. I was like, oh my god, I was such an idiot.
Oh man, it's interesting what can truly terrify you when you're a child. When I was a kid, I was petrified of Fred Krueger, who, as an adult, is obviously just kind of a comedian, right? I mean, he's
Yeah,
so funny. But as a kid, it was the burns, it was the sweater, it was the claw, the fedora, the whole 9 yards.
doors are pretty frightening, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, it was just one of those things that just got me. And my brother, when he was a teenager, I was probably 6 or 7. He had the claw, and he had the mask and the fedora, and he had it for years. And one out of the blue one year, he decided to resurrect his old costume. And I remember sleeping out in my house, which is a farmhouse, and we had 5 acres of land growing up, and my bed was right next to my window. And when you're in the country, there's no lights outside, right? So essentially, when you look out, it's just pitch black, or you get the light of the stars and the moon. That's it. And I remember being woken up to a tapping on the side of the house, and that kind of got me startled. And then, as I look over through the window, I just see the claw go down my window and scrape against the pane of the glass really quick and make that kind of nails on chalkboard sound. And that was GG for me. I was
Troll brother is troll.
no, I had tears running through my eyes, man. I was so scared. My heart was beating 1,000 miles a minute, and I remember it just screaming at the top of my lungs, and I'm just terrified. And he comes in there and he started laughing and takes the mask off. He's like, "It's okay, it's okay." And I run past him and I try to get out and he grabs me. And I just remember grabbing onto the sides of the door with my hands and my feet and just clenching on with every bit of my being, not letting him pull me. And when he let go, I was still just there holding myself on the sides of the door. I was that scared of that moment. That's the most scared I've ever been ever, man. It was just
Wow.
terrifying.
Yeah, I can see that would freak the crap out of me too. I don't know. Whenever I'm out at the ranch house and stuff like that, I'm always like, they're like, you don't have to lock the doors. We're out in the wood. Like, no. You know what? We're locking the doors. I don't trust you. I don't trust these people. I don't trust these cows. I don't trust any of this stuff. Nature's scary. Nature's scary. Damn nature, you scary. I'm out there. I don't want Freddy Krueger coming at me in the night.
Oh
Troll
man.
brothers. I was unfortunately I was the older brother, so I was the troll brother. So I can't really.
Yeah, no.
I sympathize with you. I can't empathize with you. My brother would.
Yeah, no doubt. We stand in solidarity, young Shulburne.
Yes.
Well, do you have any other games you want to talk about, man?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. That was really all the ones I planned for. Uh, I kind of want to mention One Night One More Time, just because I feel like that's such a good implementation of the werewolf idea, and it's so good for Halloween parties. Like if you're going out this Friday, and like if you're going to be gaming or anything like that, or you're going to be at a party, one night's so good. It takes so many people. You can play with so many people, and it takes so little time. It's a really really good game. That's such it's got a great theme. It's just perfect for that night. But yeah, nothing in particular comes to mind. I probably am going to be now that I'm thinking about it. I might be gaming this Friday, so I might be bringing it with me.
That's awesome, man. I actually just recently played Ultimate Werewolf again,
Oh yeah.
and just a great experience, man. So if you don't have One Night and you have access to Ultimate Werewolf, it too will work really well. One Night plays much faster, but Ultimate Werewolf is really, really fun.
Definitely. And yeah, don't you know? And I heard this today. This is going to be more or less about games, more about the holiday, I guess. One of my good friends just didn't understand the appeal of Halloween, and kind of played to what you were talking about earlier in the show. Like he's kind of in that age where he doesn't have a kid. He's got his fiance. He's never really been into holidays, but I'm just like I can't let go of the holiday. I love the holiday so much. I love this watching Halloween specials, like cheesy stuff. I like watching some cheesy horror movies, cheesy monster movies. I want to go find a DVD of Monster Squad. We need that
Oh,
in
me
my life.
too.
But going in, and it's just like I don't want to lose. I don't want people to lose that. And I think these like Halloween games kind of help you keep that spirit, because like the time when I stop doing Halloween game nights and things like that is when I feel like I'm going to be out of the spirit.
Yeah, and just remember, I think it's very cyclical, right?
Yeah.
With pretty much everything in our lives, I think we have um, these times where we're really into something and then we get out of it and then we rediscover it, right? Rediscovering is a big thing, I think, for a lot of people. It's a way to kind of um, bring back in something that was special to you once before. And nostalgia is a really big thing. And Halloween is a very nostalgic holiday because, again, I think that most people will find that they're either really into it when they're young and then they're not so much, and then they get back into it. So it's just one of those. It's one of those things that just once you get out of it and then you start having children, if you do go that route in your life, you find a whole new appreciation for the day. Just there's a time when you're going out trick or treating or whatever, and all the other kids are just basically a burden. They're just other kids taking your candy, right? But once you have kids, it's just kind of, at least for me, it reawakens something and an appreciation for all those kids and just having a good time and having at the holiday, which is one of the neatest holidays because it's not one we take seriously. It's just one that we know the point. We're going out there. We're going to have a good time. We're going to try to get candy, and we're going to try to scare each other. And at the end of the day, it's just fun. It's just one of those things that's just meant to be fun, which is awesome.
I 100% agree, and I'll leave everyone with the unofficial theme song of Halloween, "Spooky Scary Skeletons," the scariest song on all of YouTube. Google it, YouTube it.
Spooky, scary skeletons?
Spooky Scary Skeletons. I warning. That would be like a sensitive content warning. NC-17. No, Spooky Scary Skeletons. If you haven't seen it, it's the goofiest song ever. But it's scary, guys. You need to check it out.
I'm gonna check it out right after this. My one of my buddies at work today introduced me to the demon possessed singing trout, I think, or singing bass. I don't know. YouTube that as well because it's just really really funny.
Nice. I will check that out. This is a cultural exchange.
Yeah.
Our people's Halloween traditions being swapped back and forth like the olden days.
From 2.5 hours away, we have cultures.
These cultures are real, people. Yeah, you don't even know.
What's before we sign off? What's going on with Weapons Grade channel?
Oh yeah, finishing up horror month. We're going to be doing probably a review of Dead of Winter episode. Tonight I'm going to be editing up Big Game Hunter. Hopefully have that up tomorrow or Friday. Yeah. Episode 2 of that. That was a big hit for us. I was really happy with that. And then November we got less Kickstarter reviews, more actual previews, or less Kickstarter previews, more actual reviews. Just literally walked in with the bag of the entire Dungeons and Dragons Attack Wing stuff, and we have Wave 5 of X-Wing over there. So big Attack Wing X-Wing combo week next week. So it should be a lot of fun. A lot of cool stuff coming up on the horizon.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We've got some cool stuff coming up at Let's Level Up as well. We have quite a few reviews that we still have pending from Gen Con. I don't know if I'm ever going to be caught up on all the stuff that we have to do from Gen Con. How about you?
I'm still in the same boat, actually. I've got Kimball's Cascade that I still need to review, and Pandemic Contagion, and Cash and Guns.
It's crazy, man. Gen Con was such a great show, and it was just a great time. And it's just one of those things that I'm glad to have experienced. I don't think I'm going to be able to go next year, which is really unfortunate. But I am so stoked to have gotten to do it this year. It's just so great.
Are you going to go to BTG-Con?
I'm going to try. I don't know yet if I can get the time off. I may try to swing up there on the weekend now that I've gotten my automobile and whatnot taken care of. But hopefully I can make it at least one day. That'd be nice.
Cool.
Yeah, if I can't, have fun, guys, that are going to BGG-Con. I hear that's an absolute awesome show just to go and play games at.
Yes, I will be his proxy. I'll give you 2 hugs for the price of 1, which is free. So, pretty sweet deal. Pretty sweet deal.
Yeah, I'll actually pay you if you don't hug Hunter and scowl at him.
Just like, who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Just say, hey, are you that guy from Let's Level Up whenever you see Hunter?
Are you the guy from Lost?
Yeah.
Is that what you are?
I used to get all the time, hey, are you fat or John Travolta? I'm like,
oh my god.
No, that's not me. No. Like, oh, no, I get it. You're fat Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day. Like, still not me. Just plain old me.
That could be your costume. You don't even have to try. You just put a suit on and be like Fat John Travolta. Perfect.
Yeah. Just don't catch me in the sauna, or something may happen.
Well, I'm going to. You know what? Happy Halloween, guys! I'm about to actually carve jack-o'-lanterns in like 10 minutes.
Oh, awesome, man. So, if you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. On behalf of Hunter and myself, this is so much fun to do. And, we're going to do it again with episode 2 before too long. Hopefully it's in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Hunter, thanks for taking the time with talking to everybody. And I really enjoyed doing this. I know we get a lot of cool feedback from you guys from doing these, even on the last one where we messed up. So hopefully this one is a little bit better quality for you guys. As you can see, I'm not in my bedroom. Not that you saw much of that before. But it's fun, right? We talk about stuff that we love, and that's awesome for me.
Definitely, guys. Keep giving the feedback. It'll be hilarious if this entire episode had no audio the entire time. That would be the best. If I hope you were hearing nothing. That would be hilarious. No, guys. Seriously, the feedback's great, and really enjoyed doing this. Thank you for once again inviting me back on. Special guest, Hunter. I'm assuming that I'm a rotating second guest. You can always replace me at any moment. So I'm fighting for my job.
Never. No, you are the heart and soul that is the Cardboard Consortium. Don't ever forget
Beautiful.
that, sir.
Beautiful. Now we need a Twitter account. We'll work on that though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We may try to do something a little bit more permanent because I always have a blast when I'm working with hunters. So if you guys enjoyed this, please hit us up at Let's Level Up or at WG Tabletop and let us know what you'd like to see from next time's show and let us know what we can improve on as well. So we're just two guys that love gaming at the end of the day, and we've started talking to each other when we were both really new in the game, and now we've been doing it for both over a year, almost 2 years now.
Just
And
about.
yeah, so I think we've become fast friends, and at least I like to think so.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. This guy thinks he's my friend. That's cool. No, that's really cool. No, no, it's been awesome. We've kind of grown our channels around the same, about pretty much the same times, the same sizes. It's been a really awesome couple years almost now. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Indeed, indeed. And some of these reviews, actually, by the way, if you want to check out some of my old Horror Month reviews, Last Night on Earth, Betrayal at House on the Hill last year. That's how I can tell it's been more than a year, is because we're in Horror Month #2 for my channel. I have reviewed those as well. Take a look at those if you get a chance, because I want you all to actually buy the games because they're really good.
No, for sure. Everything that we talked about today are really, really good games, and I would feel confident putting my stamp on approval on any of them. And some of them don't cost much, and some of them cost a little bit more. I think Mansions of Madness is probably the most expensive game that we talked about today, but it's one of those games that you may have a really good time playing. So if you're
Yep.
looking for a horror themed game, hopefully we covered all our bases here, and you guys enjoy what you found.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I wanted to mention before we sign off is that we've got, just me personally, I've got so much personal stuff going on right now. In addition to having a family and a full-time job and Let's Level Up, like Hunter has, I'm also going to school full-time as well, so that takes a lot of time. And the other podcasts and whatnot that I'm doing. So bear with me if you guys don't see content. I'm trying to at least put a video up a week. Some weeks I'll be able to do more than that. I've also got 2 working prototypes of games that I'm currently developing, and hopefully someday you may see one of them. So, and I'll have more information on that whenever I get something a little bit more solid, or until I find out at least one of them is fun for somebody else than me. So, hopefully in the future episodes we can talk about that a little bit more. But
Yeah.
that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching, guys.
See you later. Happy Halloween.
Oh, happy Halloween. Good one.